Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. It's time to talk real estate with Laura Bramnick from talkrealestateaz.com. That's talkrealestateaz.com. Laura is an attorney specializing in real estate. She's also a real estate agent, a combination. And above and beyond both of those designations, she is a consumer advocate. She really goes to work for her clients.
I definitely try to do that. I think it's important, especially when you have to go up against, big lenders or giant companies. It's very, very intimidating.
If you have questions about real estate, if you are considering a real estate purchase or sale, you can help with both of those. And you can offer some legal guidance along the way, which is above and beyond what you typically get with just a real estate agent.
Correct.
480-624-2705, that's Laura's phone. 480-624-2705, and all the contact information and much, much more at talkrealestateaz.com. talkrealestateaz.com. All right, let's talk about depreciation.
Okay.
It applies to income producing properties.
Yes. They have to be income producing. So you can't depreciate land.
Okay.
Because it also applies to structures. Because some land can be income producing, you can rent it out for farming or whatever.
Sure.
But it applies to structures, and it's a benefit that particularly applies to real estate. It was a concept developed by the IRS or by Congress that was passed as an IRS regulation, because people like manufacturers buy equipment that wears out.
Sure.
Farmers too, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Tractors and trucking, things like that.
But it doesn't just apply to manufacturing. You
No.
could just have a rental property.
Correct.
And the structure itself tends to kind of wear out a little bit over time.
However, the property most of the time does appreciate. So you can actually take deductions on a yearly basis on your property, even though it's appreciating, and even though you're getting income in the form of rent.
So it's appreciating, but on an annual tax basis, you're getting the depreciation.
And what happens is, the tax laws say that you can depreciate it over a period of 27 and a half years.
Okay.
So let's say you buy a property for $150,000, and let's say the land is worth $50,000. Now you can depreciate the remaining $100,000. You basically divide it by 27 and a half,
Right.
and you take that amount, and you can offset that. Meaning, if you have, let's say you get $1,000 a month in rental income, so you have $12,000 in rental income. You can. That's a plus, but you can subtract your depreciation. And if your depreciation is more than rental income, in a very simple calculation, you would pay no tax.
So you really get a good break as a landlord here.
Yeah, and if your property is appreciating 3 to 5% a year, some places more, here you go, you're not paying any or many taxes on a yearly basis, and then you have this appreciation. Now, what happens when you go to sell?
Yeah, I know Uncle Sam expects to get paid eventually.
Yes, and when you go to sell, then many times the depreciation has to be recaptured. But it's recaptured in terms of, so if you have profit and also...
It's recaptured against that capital gain?
Yes. So you basically have to repay a lot of the taxes that you saved. So what do? Well, sometimes people do a 1031 exchange.
Oh yeah, sure, we've talked about that. So
Yeah.
Still though, you're going to eventually have to pay tax if you sell that 1031 exchange property, but
Correct.
you're still putting it off for further down the road.
Yeah, a lot of this are delay tactics.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that if let's say that 1 year you have a lot of business losses. Certain businesses are very cyclical. The oil industry, even the real estate industry, healthcare. I mean, it just depends on what industry you're in and what's solar. So if you're in an industry, let's say, that's tanked and you have a lot of losses, that would be the time to sell your assets that maybe have appreciated, so you can offset the profits against the losses from another asset.
Well, what this does is it just allows you to time
Correct.
your taxes to a better, more advantageous time for you, rather than just eating away annually. And of course, anytime you can delay or defer taxation, that's got to be a positive.
Now, there's other issues that come up. Certainly our political climate, because certain administrations will reduce taxes, including capital gains taxes. Also, there's estate planning that comes into it, because some people don't sell their assets and maybe they pass them down to their heirs. And you know, when they pass them down, the heirs get the benefit of the increased value. Their basis, would be equivalent to a purchase price,
Right,
is
it
the
gets stepped up
higher
to more
amount that
current.
gets stepped up. So there are ways to plan, and it's not that complicated, but you really need to see a tax professional.
You've got, now, what if somebody has some property, they've had it for a while, maybe they didn't start out with depreciation, but they're
Right.
thinking, I'd like to do that now. Do you have to do it from the beginning, or?
No, I have a lot of clients who, let's say, buy a starter home.
Mhm.
And then, you know, they have a couple kids and they need a bigger house, and maybe their jobs,
They turn the starter
they-
into a rental?
Correct. So certainly you can't depreciate it while you live in it, because there's other tax benefits that come from that when you sell. But you can turn it into a rental, and then you have to take the value at that time. That becomes what we call your basis. So any appreciation from that point on is what you would ultimately potentially pay taxes on. But you can depreciate it starting at that time, and you just want to set it up properly. And I have a lot of clients that have made errors that come after the fact, you know, and this happened mostly when the market tanked. And a lot of them, because the value fell, a lot of them had some issues about how to deal with the taxes and the debt forgiveness.
Set it up properly. It's the old idea, ounce of prevention, pound of cure. You can help with this entire process. In fact, you may be able to offer some options that people aren't even thinking about.
And I can refer them to the right tax or estate professional that works with me to make sure that we get the plan right.
Outstanding. Laura Bramnick, talkrealestateaz.com, that's the website. 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705, talkrealestateaz.com. All the contact info at the website. Laura, great info as always. Thanks.
Thanks, Claire.